So tell me a little bit, Jason. So how do you take me from a high level overview from the beginning to the end? How do you find a property? How do you run your numbers? Tell me. Let's start with finding a deal first. So how do you find a deal, and how do you run your numbers?
Absolutely. So there's an infinite number of ways to find deals. The first thing I always tell people is don't even bother looking at anything on the market. Sure, there are some people that will waste everyone's time and send out 200-300 lowball offers to agents of properties that are listed on on the MLS every day. And occasionally you do 1,000 of those lowball offers, you might get one. To me, that's a complete waste of time. No good deals ever get listed on the market, at least in my market. And on the very rare occasion that they do, there's 20 other desperate investors that you're competing with that flock to that and bid up the price. So you've got to go off market. You've got to go direct to seller or to wholesalers who are direct to seller. And so, the wholesalers, they're the ones doing this work to go and find these deals, get it under contract, and then assign the deal to you. And as far as my deal flow, I'd say about half of my deals come from wholesalers, and the other half I source on my own through all of the same exact methods that these wholesalers are using. So I'd say the most, popular, common, well-known example is direct mail. You buy your lists online, you set what criteria you're looking for, and you just blast out thousands and thousands of postcards. And you're just casting a really wide net. You spray and pray, as they call it. And it's a really on average, it's like a 1% response rate. But you get enough of those responses. You don't take offense to the ones that are cussing you out and demanding to be taken off your list, and you keep moving forward. Eventually you get a deal, and then you start expanding into other types of marketing. So you can cold call these lists. You can drive for dollars, go around and look for these distressed properties and build a list, and then skip trace them to find those phone numbers, and you can cold call them yourself, or you can hire somebody else, either locally or a virtual assistant overseas for cheap. In my experience, being especially down here in the South, foreign accents on cold calling don't typically have good success rate. I don't personally know any wholesalers or flippers that have had great success in the South. I'm sure there are a couple that somehow are doing it right, but I haven't met them yet. Another big method that a lot of wholesalers are using today that have a lot of success is text blast campaigns. So, they'll buy one of these, monthly services from one of these providers, and they'll pay for the list, skip trace it to get the numbers, and then click a button, and it'll let you send out 1,000 text messages in an instant. And some of them you can send like 1,000 text messages in a day, and then their system automatically filters through. If people respond back to those texts, it goes back into that CRM that's built into that platform. And then you just filter through those responses and see if anybody actually responded with serious interest. And then maybe you pick up the phone and call them to respond, start building rapport, and go from there. A lot of what I do now is a lot less time intensive. Like I would say the cold calling and even direct mail, filtering through all of those inbound calls is a little time intensive, especially if you're driving for dollars to build that list first, because that definitely takes a lot of time. So over the years, I've shifted. When you start, you're often starting with more free time and less money. And so you start with some of those methods. And most folks over time, that balance shifts where you have less time, but maybe more money to put, towards your marketing budget. And for most of us, that gets to about the point where I'm at now, where most all of my own personal marketing is online through SEO, search engine optimization, and Google pay-per-click ads and social media ads. That's They're really expensive at first. Once you start to do them well and do them at scale, you get some of the benefits of economies of scale. And at the end of the day, your overall cost per deal should be lower than most of those other methods, but not really until you're doing it with some volume.
Okay.
So there's a million other methods, but those are some of the most commonly used.
Yeah, very, very interesting, and a few things that you said that I actually have to start looking into, because personally I had given up. I had a wholesale company and given up on it, and had not, maybe too early, but had not much success with going direct to seller, and I utilize a lot of the, like you do, wholesalers, get deals from wholesalers, but the flip side to that is that you're depending on the wholesaler to bring you a deal, and then you either have to say, okay, that's my area, or you have to follow that wholesaler into that area, right? You don't get to pick and choose all your deals all the time. But that's why I am making some MLS deals. So it's very interesting what you say.